Hi everybody, my name is Karel. I'm founder and CEO at Cumul.io. And first of all, I want to say how happy I am to again see you in person. It's been 3 years since last time we did it. Some familiar faces, some new faces as well, so extremely happy with this. I think it's safe to say that the world has changed during that period. We had some moments of hardship, some moments of uncertainty. We had COVID kicking in 2020. We went into lockdown. We opened up again in a lockdown, again opened up luckily. And then when COVID seemed to become less impactful, we stumbled into a new period of uncertainty. But from what I gathered from talking to all of you these last couple of months and even these last couple of minutes just before this presentation, you took these periods of uncertainties as moments to reflect on what is important to you, moments to reflect on what is important to your business, but also to your customers. And you took these moments to have a look forward, to be more impactful. And so here we'll be talking about what is our look towards customer-facing analytics, how we can improve on this, how we can help you get better and even improve on client-facing analytics. Very quickly, this was us 3 years ago. As you can see, some beers were already consumed. We were actually closing down the venue. At the time, we were 15 people, very passionate, very enthusiastic, but also very grateful because we were at the front of customer-facing analytics in SaaS. And we were lucky to be able to work with such strong early adopters. And several of them are still present here today. But we also knew that there was a lot of work to be done. Our mission at Cumul.io is to bring true data-driven decision-making to all, and this with an extreme time to insight. And we were executing on that mission, but we know and we knew back then that there was still a lot to be done. This is us today. As you can see, we grew in experience. We tripled our team in terms of bringing in expertise. We brought more performance, more analytical power to our team. And we're still as passionate, as enthusiastic as we were in 2019. But maybe we're also a little bit more humble. Because as we grew, we also saw the world change. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. But it brought in new possibilities. And with new possibilities always come new expectations. So our work is far from being done. Today, we're serving more than 52,000 dashboards worldwide in 37 countries for more than 260 clients. But enough about Cumul.io. We're here to talk about the future of customer-facing analytics. And so if I say the world has changed, what do I mean with that? Well, we all started working remote, and that meant that some projects accelerated. Companies that were planning to go from on-premise solutions to cloud suddenly started accelerating these projects. We all were forced to work with remote cloud tools, and we actually enjoyed it. You had consumerization coming into B2B, and we all saw that offered a whole suite of new possibilities. Combine that with the amount of data that has been growing exceedingly through cloud, but also through IoT, and all the amount that is available today, it presents a whole suite of new possibilities, but also expectations. Think about it. We're today in an energy crisis, and a lot of people are looking to install solar panels and batteries at their house. Do you know what they're asking for these installations and the people installing it? Does it come with software that optimizes for my wallet? Does it combine external data like energy prices, so selling electricity or getting electricity? Does it combine with internal data, the use of electricity of my household, but also the forecasted sun that we will see? Does that all combine? And that is possible through data. That is possible through connecting these dots, but that shapes new expectations as well. Expectations for you all, but also expectations for client-facing analytics. And so that meant that we, as we saw that moving forward, we were looking into how should we look at the future of customer-facing analytics. And so as we tried to do it well, we started doing research. We've been doing that for several months. We started it, I think, even 1 year ago. And with research, what do? You start with the as-is situation. we started looking at lists of companies, starting with the top performers, then going to companies that maybe less and less people know, getting these lists from review sites, from investors, from you working with other tools. And we had a huge list of SaaS companies. And we started looking at their websites. We started looking at what were the features that they offered. And we actually uncovered that today, more than 90% of them already feature some sort of client-facing analytics. And it can be very crude, like just an export of data, a data dump, up to something very complex, like allowing them to create their own reports. And so it was clear that all these companies understood the value of that, understood the possibility of that, and maybe also got that through their customers, requesting for it. Because when we dug deeper, we saw that not only did it bring loyalty to them, not only were they planning to reduce churn with it, but they also, more than half of them charged extra for these features. So they saw a way of monetizing these options. So that was from the side of SaaS companies. But then we took a different look. We took a look at the end users consuming these analytical features. And that gave some astonishing numbers. So what we did is we looked at G2. For the ones not knowing G2, G2 is actually an aggregator site, maybe the most popular aggregator site. So what we did is we looked at G2. G2 is an aggregator site. You can position your own software on top of that. So with videos, with features, saying what you do as a company. Or your customers can do that. And it's the most popular site for SaaS tools, and all top performers are on there. And so we took a look at 250 companies on there, 250 top performers in 7 industries. And we actually found out that 89% of them dealt with negative reviews on their client-facing analytics, 89%. So they all understood the value, they all understand that it's necessary to do, but they still are unable to perform well on client-facing analytics. And so we dug deeper and we looked into what were some of the reasons that their clients were dissatisfied. And the top one reason was it was difficult to use. It was clunky. It didn't present the UX, the user experience that they are expecting from software to be in there, to get to these insights. 61% of all these reviews showed that. Second problem that we saw is that it didn't present the data that they needed to be successful. It didn't show the insights and the metrics they were expecting to get out of it. And then thirdly, they weren't able to edit, configure, or create their own reports. And when we dug deeper, we actually saw that most of these SaaS companies look at client-facing analytics as necessary evil, something they have to do to check a box, maybe for that analyst, maybe for their clients who are looking at a list, does it do X, Y, Z? But they fail to see the huge potential and the immense benefits that it can bring with it. And those benefits are really immense. They can be the difference between winning or losing against your competition. Think about running apps. Back in the days, you had more than 10, even 20, maybe 100 running apps. Apart from Strava, how many winning running apps do you still know today? Strava largely beat their competition through great customer-facing analytics. Because if you do it right, it makes your product sticky like bees to honey. Because your customers will gladly return to your platform. Because in a nice-looking interface, they have an up-to-date view on these metrics, on these insights, on which they can make informed decisions that help them bring success. And they'll be happy to share these insights with their peers, with their colleagues, which again brings in a very strong community effect. And if you allow them to dig deeper, to uncover, to slice and dice through their data, you're empowering them. And combine that with the fact that you're actually educating them in your platform, that makes that you become a trusted partner. You become somebody they rely on. You become somebody that they look as an innovative brand. And so, in the world of digital experience, in the world of customer experience, what does good client-facing analytics look like? What is great customer analytics experience, or CAX? Well, our research and also our practical experience showed that it's actually in the intersection of 3 important areas. The first one is end-user business value. And Christian will talk about that. But also Actito and Proximus, Luc from Proximus, will talk about that. It's about the success of your customers. You want to ensure that they're making the right decisions at the right moment in time. Second one is premium user experience, and Olivier of Califio will talk about that as well. You want to ensure that they get the experience that they want, and that's where also we see some consumerization entering B2B. They want a nice, easy way to navigate through your platform to get these insights, to make these decisions on top of it, and in a very nice looking, appealing interface. And then lastly, we have personalization. Your customers aren't all alike, and you shouldn't treat them alike. They differ in the access that they can have. They differ in the role that they have. They differ in how you can make them successful. And so you should treat them in a very personalized way, talking their language and letting them use the device they want to use. So this is customer analytics experience, great customer analytics experience. But in this talk, what I want to do is look at how we can improve and get to this, or what are some things we could look forward ahead when presenting these customer analytics experience for our customers. And so what I've prepared here is 2 instruments that can help you. One is brand new, and I'm very happy to be able to present that today. Another one is about the trajectory. How can you move along the axis of coming to great customer analytics experience, and what lies ahead? And then lastly, I'll end my talk with some present I'm very happy to share here as well. So let's talk with the first instrument, about the first instrument, showcases. We're all here gathered to learn from one another because we all bump into the same kind of issues. And by learning from real use cases where people talk about what they learned, what they bumped into, what were some roadblocks, we actually uncover some things and we win time. We avoid making the same mistakes. And so with showcases, and that's a website we built, showcases.cumul.io, but you'll also be able to enter through our navigation. We share real-life use cases. We share things where you can learn from, avoid making mistakes, but also getting inspired by success of others. And so in there, you'll have real-life business cases, but also cases about how to technically implement something, or what could be a good business setup, for example, in terms of monetization. My team asked me also to tell to you that if you want to be featured on this, do come and talk with us, because we'll be putting more and more customer cases in these coming weeks and coming months on it. But if you feel like you have something very strong to say for customer-facing analytics inside your industry, we're happy to feature you on this website as well. I said 2 instruments. The second one is something we've been seeing these last couple of years, last couple of months. Everybody's coming to us, well, the tool that you're presenting is really great. It helps us to do a lot of things, but what is actually a good trajectory to execute on good client-facing analytics? And so through the continued research, but also through experience from these last years, we ended up with the 5 levels of customer analytics experience. And so we'll dive into one by one. Important here to say is you can attack them one by one and so grow incrementally, but you can definitely also combine several of these and jump ahead more quickly to get to the CACs Walhalla. The most important tip I can share you here is don't ever start this as a full-blown project that will take months and years. Always do it incrementally. Keep the success of your customers as the end goal and try to get there very early on. Come with some insights that help them and iterate on that. Add some new data as you move forward, but don't ever address it in a huge way where you're first building very complex architectures to then only get to start to think of the success of your customers. So always do it in an iterative way. But let's discuss about these steps and how it can help us getting to better customer analytics experience. First one, baby steps, level 1, getting the basics right. And this is about looking at what you already have today and looking at your customers, looking at the people that you serve. How can you have an impact to them? What are the insights you should give them to help them make right decisions? And a great example here is the first names for boys and girls. It's from the Ministry of Economics. Bart is there here. I think he had a hand in this. And it's a great example. Why? Because the Ministry of Economics in Belgium gathers all the information about births in Belgium, so women giving birth. And typically that ends up into fertility rates, into growth of population or decline of population, into information on migration, immigration, etc. All things they also do, but they went a step further. They looked at how can we have an impact on household level. And so they started to use the first names of these birth numbers. Because what's a typical question that everybody that gets their first or their second or, like me, their third kid, you start reflecting on the name. You want to choose a name that you like, but they will also like when they grow older. And so one of the things that I wanted to avoid, for example, I wanted to have a name where everybody would like that name, but not so popular that you would risk having your kid in a class with 3 or more sharing the same name, which was actually the case with my wife. So she's called Sarah. She was born in the 80s. For 6 years, she has been in a class where 3 of them shared the same name, Sarah. She's still called by some people the tall one. And so you want to be able to avoid that. And by having a tool that shows you the popularity of these names and shows an evolution on that, you can look at the name that I'm now choosing. Is this something that ticks the boxes for what I would like for my kids later on? And so it's a beautiful example of thinking further ahead than just metrics, thinking about how can we influence on a real level the people that we're looking at. And so if you have these things ready, how can you share it? Well, you can just start sharing it through the mediums that, that your customers use. It can be through a blog post, it can be on your website, it can even be on paper that you give them to a flyer. So getting the basics right. Second step, customer specific. It's here where you start looking at an individual customer. Here you go beyond the whole crowd. Here you really look at how can we impact an individual customer. And when you start doing that, of course, the most important thing you should be looking at is security. Because you don't want to have one customer looking at the data of another customer, or even have everybody looking at possible contacts of one user. So security is really important. But how do you embark on this? Well, you know your customers. You know what decisions they are making. So look at these metrics or these insights where you believe that it will make an impact for their success. And once you have this, start with these in a small basis and then further iterate on it. And here it's crucial that you very often have feedback loops, because you want to ensure that you're building these dashboards that matter to them, these dashboards that make an impact for them. Here's an example of a weekly report that is being sent around investment of a portfolio. So there's many ways, again, where you can share it. Here it becomes important because you move up a notch, you go to customer-specific insights. You make it already a bit more personalized. Let's move to level 3, embedded. And before I talk about this, what I want to stress is that if you're in software, if you're in SaaS, you should already be at this level. If you're not at this level, you should at least be working towards to it. Because we know your customers are asking for it. And if you're not doing it, you can be damn sure your competitor will do it. And so it's really a matter about success or extinction. And so make sure that you're already here or at least working here. And so what is embedded about? Embedded is about bringing those customer-specific insights now natively in your platform. And the reason you want to do that is because now they'll start associating the benefits and the success of these insights directly to your platform, because they see these insights in your platform. And so the best way on executing here is by looking at it at a seamless way. It needs to be aligned with the styling that you offer in terms of colors, in terms of fonts, but it also needs to be aligned in the language that you speak to them or the languages that you offer. If they're used to using multiple devices to go on your platform, you should support these as well. The example that I here have is a banking app that shows the current financial situation for your customers. So here, again, ideally, you're already here at level 3. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't continuously reflect on getting the basics right, but ideally, you're already at level 3 or executing on that. So let's say this is today. What are some things we could look forward to? What are some future things we should educate on or should look our customers to getting? And it's now that things start getting interesting. Because when it's embedded, you have the keys to empower your customers. You have the keys to bringing them to a next level. And that's where actionability enters. And actionability is, of course, about interactiveness, allowing them to slice and dice, dig deeper, uncover information. But actionability is also about driving real action, about making real decisions. And it's maybe more important than just the interactivity. It's about driving real action, about making that they make the right decisions at the right point in time. And it's here where your dashboards go beyond just your single tab in your platform, your analytics tab or your dashboards page. No, it's here where your charts get entangled with the day-to-day workflow. It's here where charts and dashboards suddenly start appearing in multiple places in your platform. And typically, these ones where you need to make a decision or where you need to present multiple scenarios for them to choose on. And if you reflect on it, and if you know Cumul.io, you know that these last couple of years, last couple of months, we've been working very hard on this. We added actionability. We added custom events where you could trigger actions. We added drill down paths. Recently, we added a measure and dimension picker where your end customers could choose the metrics that they saw across which categories they wanted. We added custom drill down paths. We added information tooltips where they could navigate in your platform. So we worked a lot on this. But this is only level 4. So what is level 5 about? What can we even more towards work on? And so as in the levels of fully autonomous driving, there's 5 levels of CACs. And the 5th level is the ultimate level. It's here where you'll combine laser-focused automation with large degrees of freedom. What do I mean with that? Well, laser-focused automation is about continuously monitoring the business situation of your end customer. You can do that through business rules, you can do that through algorithms, you can do that to use an expensive word, machine learning, but actually when your customer enters your platform, you give them prescriptive insight. You tell them, hey, you just logged in, I saw this. It would be worth investigating X, Y, Z. Maybe you can take a decision here. If you want, I've prepared more information. Because if you're able to give that to your end customer, you're giving them a user experience where they win a lot of time in your platform, where they're able to operate in a very swift way and again, win time. And that is time that you can use to offer them more degrees of freedom, because it's often time that they will invest in your platform to research. And so what is the degrees of freedom that we're then talking about? By now, you would already know that your customers aren't alike. You have customers that are totally not data savvy. And they will very much like the prescriptive insights, saying, hey, you should do X, Y, Z. We've modeled this for you. You'll have other customers that are a little bit more data savvy and that say, okay, these prescriptive insights, these are nice to look at, but let me dive deeper. Let me understand what's the rationale about it. Let me understand what is, in terms of metrics, what drives this. And then you'll have your percentage of users that you probably also all know. Those are the power users. They're saying, this is really nice, but actually just give me the data. I want to build my own story. I have a very specific context. Let me build on top of this specific context. And it's here where you want to offer them a way that they can modify or create their own reports. It's here where you give them that freedom. And that would, again, surmount into more satisfaction. But not only more satisfaction, it brings in collateral wins. Because by offering them these possibilities, it will drive engagement. They will come back more. They created specific insights that they're now following up. Again, it brings community because more and more they start sharing it with other people. An interesting metric here is, not sure if everybody knows HubSpot, but 79% of HubSpot users prefer the custom reports they built over the template reports that were presented to them. So giving them a means to do that definitely helps in terms of customer success, but also satisfaction. And then lastly, it reduces strain on your resources. Because if you don't yet offer them a solution to do this, then you know that your power users are continuously coming to you. Can you tweak this report? Can you add this metric to that report? And it puts a lot of stress on your customer success team, puts a lot of stress on your engineers, puts a lot of stress on product. But here, by giving them a tool to allowing them to do it on their own within the boundaries that you set, you reduce strain and you help your own people work on core features. And then lastly, if you're lucky, they'll even uncover a next battlefield where you can win. Because they'll look at their specific context and they might uncover something you haven't reflected on and something that could give you a competitive edge over your end users. So to come back to a summary, I hope I gave some insights into what you could do, how you can have a trajectory, but also how you can look forward into executing on having great customer-facing analytics. I told you I would have a little present at the end, and I'm actually very happy and very proud that I can present something to you. Our customer advisory board and some customers here present today already had access. For the other ones, I'm very happy that today we can announce that we release our embedded dashboard editor.
And your customers expect more analytical power than ever. To address this need, Qmilio presents the embedded dashboard editor, a modern, easy-to-use experience seamlessly built into your software as a service. Empower customers to make smart data-driven decisions and drive business results. Start by setting the rules of the game. You decide how your product users explore and adjust their own data. Offer personalized dashboards tailored to each user's specific needs. Let them browse and select dashboards that are most relevant to their business area. Grant the power to create dashboard variants that can be evolved to unique needs and preferences. Your users choose what data and metrics they want to see, how they visualize their data, who they share it with, who they collaborate with, and when they receive alerts. Even allow users to enrich available insights with their own private data sets. Are your customers ready to take charge of their data? Then level up their analytics experience with the embedded dashboard editor. Deploy it to the familiar look and feel of your product in days, saving months of development time and resources, all while generating new revenue streams and increasing the stickiness and ROI of your product. The Qmilio Embedded Dashboard Editor, the ultimate customer analytics experience.
And so I think that's nice, right? For the ones that haven't seen it yet, it now allows you to add an edit environment just by toggling a property, just by toggling one method to go from view mode to edit mode. But it gives you the control to choose how you present that to your end customers. You can choose what data that they can use, but also what features that they can use, and if they're the right users to edit. You could just give it to your power users or the users on a premium plan. As I mentioned, we already presented this earlier on. We wanted to have feedback from our customers, and that makes that several of them already have this running in production. A nice example here is Castellan. Castellan is a SaaS tool in risk compliance and business continuity. And before they started using Qmilio, they actually had static dashboards. But they had so many requests that they couldn't follow up. So they used the tool to be able to quickly edit reports inside their own platform. And so they used Qmilio. But still, their power users were asking for more and more. And it put more and more stress on their customer success team. But when using EDE, or the Embedded Dashboard Editor, they were able to give that control and that power to their power users, which completely changed the way the game was played, and reducing a huge amount of strain while having more satisfaction on their end user side as well. A second one, and it's visually very impressive, is Apogea Consult. Apogea is a player in digital products and services for architecture, for engineering, and for construction. And so they use an in-app dashboard as the single source of truth to present all data around these construction works. But what they saw is that while building that out, all of these projects had different needs in terms of KPIs. And so they couldn't just use one template dashboard. They needed to give a way for their end users to create an own report. And the beauty about how they did it is that They allowed their end users, and so they give the possibility to their end users to create a new report, but out of the box, it immediately interacts with the 3D models that they have ready there, which is very, very nice as a customer satisfaction point of view, but also in terms of possibilities giving to their end users. And so, as a summary, I think you already know that your power users are ready for this. We've been working very hard to make this available from a technological point of view. And this allows you to do it in a very easy way. This allows us also to work on some things we consider as the future. We consider as level 5 looking ahead in terms of customer-facing analytics. To end my talk, what better way to do it with metrics? And this comes from a recent study from McKinsey, where they indicate that data-driven companies are 23 times more likely to attract new customers, 6 times more likely to retain these customers, but also 19 times more likely to be profitable. And so if you help them to become more data-driven, if you help them to provide these insights for them to make informed decisions where they can have success, well, then you help them become more data-driven. Then you help them increase their success, because that's what it is. Their success should be the end goal. Metrics and analytics are just a means. They shouldn't be the goal. It's the success of your customers that is the goal. And so with that, I happily pass the floor to Christian, and he will talk about why it is important to be metric skeptic, why it is important to always look at the success of your customers.